Okay. Okay, I got a song I want to start out with that I think really describes what I'm going through right now. And maybe it will also describe what you're going through right now. And so what I would like to ask you to do while I'm doing that is to breathe and ask yourself, what do I want? What do I really want? What do I want? What do I really want? Take that into this meditation. What do I want? And then come behind and go, what do I really want?
Yeah.
What do I want? What do I really want? You with me?
Yeah.
All right. Now, pay attention to these lyrics today. So this is a friend of mine. Her name is Donna Marie Carey. Remember, you don't have to believe anything you hear me say today. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to welcome it. Some of the things I say are going to be hard to believe. Some of the things I say are going to be startling, and you're going to go, I don't believe that, maybe. But you don't have to believe any of it. Things are changing again.
Rolling round at the season's end. About to lose my old friend.
Guess what?
Feel it changing again.
Don't you feel it changing again?
It scares me so.
Sometimes it scares me so much. I'm so glad my heart knows that everything is really okay. Okay, so everything is okay, y'all. It's just changing. I feel it changing again. Oh, shucks.
Don't know why, and I don't know where.
I don't know why, I don't know where.
Going where I've never been.
I'm going where I've never been, like Amsterdam and Holland.
I feel it changing again.
Say what? It scares me.
It scares me so.
Sometimes I get scared. I don't have those funny shoes.
But my heart knows.
It scares me, but my heart really knows that everything,
is really okay.
tell yourself everything is really okay. It's only changing. It's only changing. It's really okay. You are not alone. You have help. You have support. And that's the Holy Spirit. That's the part of you that is in touch with the truth and love, and the part of you that knows what you're going through. That's that divine self within you. And because you have a divine self inside of you, even though it's changing, it's going to be okay, Raj, even though it's changing. Talk to me, Donna. I'm shooting this out to my sister, Erlene, who made her transition 1 year ago today. I know you partied like a big dog. I love you so much. I love you so much, Marshall. My brother-in-law, they made the transition at the same time. So I want to shoot a shout out to my brother-in-law, Marshall. I love you, man. I know you're not those bodies. I know you still exist as spirit, as consciousness. And I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. Everything is really okay, actually. So tell yourself it's really okay. It's just changing. It's really okay. It's just changing. Changing again. Ain't that cool?
Oh, yeah.
Anybody got some changes going on right now? Was that something? Am I the only one that has changes happening? Okay, I'm not, right? Okay, look around the room and remind yourself, it's just people here.
Just people.
There's no, you know what I'm saying? We can just cool out and have a cool time. It's just people in the room. Sometimes when I'm around people and I think I don't know them, I bring my representative into the room. Instead of my real self, I bring my critic. You know, the part that's trying to judge and make sure everything's cool. So I'm just saying to you, that you're safe. And if you got a Course in Miracles book, I'm going to be on page 9, the manual for teachers. What are the characteristics of God's teachers? Like I said earlier, you don't have to believe this, you don't have to accept it, you don't have to welcome it. I pretty much get one shot at anybody that comes through the door. And the Course in Miracles says it's only talking about love and fear, so even if you see it uses a lot of Christian religious terminology, it's only really talking about love or fear. So another way of putting that would be, if the section that I'm covering is what are the characteristics of God's teachers, it would be the same thing as saying what are the characteristics of love's teachers. So if you have resistance to religious terminology, you can just always substitute love or fear. And then the Course in Miracles teaches that a teacher is a demonstrator. I love the definitions it gives. It says a teacher is a demonstrator. So what are the characteristics of a love demonstrator? And that's what you could do. You could walk up to somebody in the party and say, you know what, I'm a love demonstrator.
Okay. Try that.
Try that. I bet you get their attention.
Yeah.
You know, maybe so. I was doing some spiritual work at a bar a few days ago. Hey, what's wrong with that? Yeah. And it's a really cool place. It's really beautiful, actually. And the waitress came up, and she had a very, very beautiful body, because she's not a body, just like none of us are. But our bodies are our communication device. Without a body, you wouldn't hear me right now. It's the body that's what makes it look like my sister is gone, because she made a transition and she dropped her body. But that's not the same as my sister doesn't exist anymore. You see. So those people that you love that look like they have made their transition, don't kill them off just because they're not in the body anymore. You know what I'm saying? Just like saying you don't exist because you threw out some old clothes. So now everybody wondering what happened to you because you gave some clothes to Salvation Army. Because you are your clothes. You see, that same thing is with the body. You're not your body. Your body is the way that you function in the physical plane. It's our avatar. It's our wetsuit. It's the way we move around in this realm. But it's not who we are. And you know it's true because if you've ever been to a funeral and looked at a body in the casket, you didn't think that was the person you knew. Immediately you went, that is not my aunt. You know, so just go ahead and do it now. You know. So anyway, so I asked her, I said, we hit it all real good, so we were rapping and stuff. And I said, well, look here. I said, what's some of the wildest lines that you've gotten as a waitress? I said, I know you must get hit on. Black folk call it getting hit on. I don't know. So anyway, we thought, man, she got hit on. So anyway, I said, so somebody's hitting on you. That's all the time here, you know. I'm not, I'm just having a conversation. Talking about the people who hit on me, you know. So, right, and that's what was one of the wildest lines that she had. It was interesting. It was something like, the guy says, it's a wonder you weren't injured when you fell out of heaven.
Cool.
You know what I'm saying? That you hurt because I just know you fell out of heaven. So aren't you hurting right now? And then when she felt really comfortable with me, she got to the point that she said another one. Let me see if I can remember it was that she got was. Do you have? The guy would say that. Do you have mirrors in your pants because I can see myself in them? That's a See, I'm freaking some people out right now. I'm freaking some people out in this room right now. Why? Because they have conceptions of what I'm supposed to be saying, or not saying, or what's proper, or not proper. And so people keep asking for new experiences, but they want them to stay the same. Yeah. Okay, I want you to give me a new relationship, but just do it just like everybody else has. I want a new relationship. So I don't know why I went into that, but it was an interesting story, wasn't it?
Yes.
I did have a point. I could have sworn I had a point when I started off. But
You got us all crazy.
But y'all enjoyed the story though, didn't you?
Yeah. We're all crazy now.
But what I really want is to laugh. So
Right. Well, that's my whole thing. It's like we get too freaking serious. I don't have to break this to you, but you're destined to wake up to who you really are. You're destined to one day know that you're perfect and that you're loved and that you're lovable. You're destined to realize one day that you're creating every single thing that happens to you, and every single thing that happens to you is coming to you because you are ordering it up, and you're ordering it up through your thoughts, feelings, emotions, and beliefs, conscious and subconscious are creating the reality that you know. Everything that's happening to you is being drawn to you because of the way your mind thinks and your mind operates. Everything that's happening to you right now is being drawn to you because of your own energy, consciousness. It's coming from you. Everything that's happening to you is coming from you. And that's the secret that the world doesn't want us to know. Is that we're not victims of anything. We are children of God. We are little creators who are just as much learning how to create in this world as little children play with their toys and create. And what you're looking at is our project, our lab project, as God beings, as spiritual beings. And what is that? It's your physical life that you think you're living now is your, what do you call it? Your lab project. That'd be a great way to look at it. Your life is your ashram. Your life is the fastest way for you to get back to happiness is through your life. And through your life, the way it is right now, and as you learn how to not condemn your life as it is right now, it will naturally evolve into something that's more and more joyful for you. You don't even have to make it do it. So what would be...
That's such good news.
Yeah, that's just...
Are you crazy? I know sometimes you feel weird when you feel happy, don't you?
Yeah.
I know you feel kind of self-conscious even admitting you like that, didn't you? Yeah, I know I'm the same way sometimes. Just, sometimes I will not express myself the way I want to express myself just because everybody else might not be feeling that way. So somehow I think I need to keep my light, because everybody else quiet, I should be quiet. If nobody else smiling, then I shouldn't smile. And all of a sudden, I realized that I had been a prisoner of my personality, and I decided to take control of my personality and no longer let my personality rule me. By saying I'm quiet, I'm introverted, I can't do this, I can't. It's like whatever the little habits that I made up for myself. What I'm doing right now is I'm asking for the mystery in my life to reveal itself. I'm asking for the mystery now. So what are the characteristics of love's teachers? But if you ever want to have a real quick relationship with people really, really fast, all you have to do is when you're talking to them, like when I was talking to the waitress, all you have to do when you're talking to them is remind yourself when you're talking to them that you're really talking to yourself pretending to be a waitress. Or you're really talking to yourself. You're just always talking to yourself. Everything and everybody you see is just another aspect of the one self that we all are. So you're always looking in your own eyes whether you know it or not. So even if the other person doesn't know it, that's talking to you, there's a part of them that does know it. And that part of them that does know that they're connected with you will usually send out little instructions to that personality that's standing in front of you to treat you cool. So you'll watch that if you're talking to a person, you go higher self to that person. You don't talk directly from ego to ego. You talk to, I know there's a part of you that's connected to me, that loves me, and I love you, and we're connected right there. And I'm going to recognize that. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to recognize our oneness. Now I'm going to have a conversation about the report that should have been on my desk yesterday at 5 o'clock. See, whatever you do in the world, you do it after you remember that you are not from this world, that you are a spiritual being having a human experience, and that you are the creator of your experience. You tell yourself the truth, then you play this illusion out. Then you become the mother, the father, the sister, the brother, the grandmama, the teacher, the aunt. All these little roles we play, we become those roles only after we remember we're not them. When you remember you're not your role, your life will begin to go smoother for you. If you think you are, you're going to get all caught up. So what are the characteristics of love's demonstrators? I like that. What's the characteristic of a love demonstrator? Well, let's see if any of us fit the characteristics. It says the surface traits of all of love's teachers are not at all alike. Okay, that's pretty cool. We look like, when I look at y'all look different.
Yeah.
Okay. Then it says love's teachers do not look alike to the body's eyes. Now, do we look alike to each other's eyes? No. And it says, what does that mean? Whenever you're reading the course and you come to a comma in the middle of a sentence, you could go, what does that mean? And the second part of the sentence always describes what the first part of the sentence is talking about. So you don't have to figure it out. Let me give you an example. The surface traits of God's teachers are not all alike. What does that mean? What do you mean that the surface traits of God's teachers are not at all alike? They don't look alike to the body's eyes. What does that mean, they don't look alike to the body's eyes? Well, they come from vastly different backgrounds, their experiences of the world vary greatly, and their superficial personalities are quite distinct. Do we come from vastly different backgrounds? Yes. Do we have very different experiences in the world? Yes. And do we have superficial personalities that look very distinctive right now? All right. It says he says nor at the beginning stages of their functioning as teachers of love have the teachers of love as yet acquired the deeper characteristics that establish them as what they are. That's the funny way of saying, even though you're going to be a teacher of love, you don't know how to do it at all. Hello? It says right there in the book. It says at the beginning, you haven't acquired the deeper characteristics of a teacher of love, that you don't really know how to do unconditional love. You agreed?
Right.
Okay? So that means that you could be a teacher of love and don't know how to love nobody. And does that qualify all of us?
Yeah.
Let's keep our sense of humor. Does that qualify all of us? Yes. It absolutely does. I don't know how to love you all unconditionally. Don't even think about getting in a relationship with me and I'm going to love you unconditionally. I will not. I promise you I won't. Now, will I have a willingness to learn how to love you unconditionally? Yes, I do. I have a true willingness to learn how to love you unconditionally. I have not yet acquired the deeper characteristics of a teacher of God. All right?
Wow.
All right. And it says, because those deeper characteristics establish us as what we are. What does that mean? So when you read in the course, you go, oh, okay, he sounds like he's talking English, but I don't know what the hell he just said. You know, you have that experience with the Course in Miracles. You swear he's talking English, but you don't know what he's saying. That's because it makes so much sense, and we're used to trying to make sense of things that don't make sense. So that when simple things are revealed to us, we say we don't understand it. I know everybody in this room understands we look different, we have different personalities, different backgrounds, and they look like we're distinct. Yeah, I know everybody here understands the fact that it says that we're going to be a teacher of love. That's a cool goal, but let me tell you something. You don't know how to do it yet. So stop beating yourself up about not being as loving as you think you are, because I just said that my teachers don't know how to love. Isn't that funny? God said, my teachers don't know how to love nobody. It's like when you go to college to be a teacher. You haven't acquired the characteristics yet, but you still want to be a teacher. Okay? Then it goes on and says, what does that mean? Well, God gives special gifts to his teachers. That's the same as saying love, the Creator gives special gifts to its demonstrators. Aha! Love gives special gifts to its demonstrators. Okay, I didn't say talkers. I said it said that love gives special gifts to its teachers, those who are trying to demonstrate. Okay? That's the reason why if I'm walking to I'm at a table or a restaurant, and usually if the person that's serving comes up to me, it's very important to me in most cases to ask them how they're doing. And tell them stuff like, I hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope you receive a lot of, tips, and prosperity. I know that sometimes this can be a very trying job, as I go through that myself. The minute you join with somebody and you act like you care anything about anything other than yourself, then they respond. And that person will be a little bit more willing to give you the best service that they have to give, because you sincerely. I wasn't doing it insincerely. I was sincerely wanting to know. But you know why? Because that's me coming up to me trying to serve me. That's me I'm talking about. That's me that I want to get the raise. That's me that I want to have the loving people that it's, once you get this oneness thing, it's not just some metaphorical new age idea that doesn't have any reality whatsoever, then this stuff will start working for you. But as long as you keep coming to classes like this and then going out of here and thinking just like everybody else thinks, you're going to get the same result that everybody else gets, and then you're going to tell yourself your truth doesn't work. It's not that your truth doesn't work. You're not working it. Okay, so if you're not getting the results, you're not doing the work. If you're not getting the results, you're not doing the work. I don't care what you say. I don't care how much you say you study. I don't care how much you say you read. If you're not getting the results, you're not doing the work. Does it make you guilty? No. Does it make you bad? No. Does it make you pathetic? No. It just means you're not doing the work. And I'm glad it doesn't work if I don't work it. And that means if I work it, then it'll work. And it always means I'm being asked to do something easier than what I've made up. You can always tell when you're doing the truth, because the truth will always require less of you than what you require of you in any situation. That's what it's easier, not harder. We come up with the harder. Spirit comes up with the easy. But the problem with that is, if you don't believe you deserve to be happy, you're also a person who don't believe you deserve to have nothing easy. You with me? So then it goes on to say that we have I love this part. It says God gives special gifts to his teachers because they have a special role in his plan for atonement. Now, if I give you the translation, which simply means just saying what the Course says it means, it says love gives special gifts to his demonstrators because love's demonstrators have a special role in love's plan for atonement. And atonement is the correction. So each and every one of us have a special role. You have a special role. You have a special role. And these special, and it says their specialness is of course only temporary, set in time as a means of leading out of time. So temporarily we look like we're different. That's so that we can help each other through fulfilling different roles that help lead us out of fear and separation. Does that make sense to everybody? In other words, we all look like we're different so that we have special roles to play in this plan to correct our sense of separation. There's a plan, to correct our sense of being separate from each other. Each one of us has a special gift and a special role to play in this plan of waking up together. We're here to wake up, and in the process, you can go to Hawaii. You know, we're here to wake up. In the process, you can have great lovemaking. We're here to wake up, and in the process, you can go, you know, see the Nuggets. But what you do when you're sitting on the floor watching the Nuggets play is you're reminding yourself that that's you playing a game with you, being watched by you. And then watch yourself having a completely different experience of the basketball game than you've ever had before. You find yourself not caring who wins because you know you won. Yeah. To me, I like to believe that I like the idea of me winning no matter what. Then the idea of me only winning if that team wins. I want to win if everybody wins. Anybody wins, I want to win. As a matter of fact, the Course in Miracles teaches the reason why the blessings that other people create does not come into your life, and the results of that doesn't just as much come to you as it comes to them, is because you see yourself as separate from them, and it cuts you off from the flow of that benefit. Stop being cut off from the flow of the benefit. I'll say it again so I can remember that. If somebody else has any kind of benefit, or they get happy or have an experience of happiness for any reason, if I will recognize that person is indeed me, then all of the energy from that act will come into my life in some form that will bless me, as if I had done it also. Because I'm not seeing myself as separate from that person, so there's a connection between us that allows that good to flow into my life too. So therefore, every time anybody else is winning an award, happy about something, getting some recognition, if you say, boy, that's me getting that, you know, getting that Medal of Honor, then the result of getting that Medal of Honor will as much filter into your life as the person who was given the Medal of Honor. So if you want to see things improve really rapidly, then see everybody's happiness as your happiness, and everything that's good that's happening to somebody is something that's happening to you. Okay? One thing about these classes that I'm trying to do now, I'm not that interested in whether or not people understand what I'm teaching anymore. What I'm interested in is telling people the things that they can do and that I can do that will make the change. The rest of it to me is just so much playing. You know, I mean, you're not going to understand until you're ready to understand. You're not going to accept until you're ready to accept. If I spend my time trying to get you to accept, then it might slow me down because I'm ready to accept it. And then I know you'll accept it when you're ready. So I don't have any pressure about moving on in my life because I know everybody's got the opportunity to change by the time they get ready. I don't mean I have to wait around for you to do it. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is become as happy as I can so that you'll see the result of actually making the change. It'd be better if I was a witness to you, which I wouldn't be if I just hung out the way you want to be, even though there's nothing wrong with that, but it just might not be where I feel like being right now. You clear about that? All of my friends and relatives are exactly where they need to be, but that doesn't mean I necessarily want to be there. But I totally support their right to be there, and I don't judge their right to be there. And I realize that's the way they decided to come to the awakening. The way that they decided to come to the awakening is the way they're living their life. I don't have nothing to do with that. That's none of my business. See how the truth is easier than what the world teaches? You know it would be easier for you just to focus on your business than anybody else's. That is easier. You know it's easier to change your mind than anybody else's. You know that's true. So the truth is always easier. Always remember that. The truth is easier. Yes.
So then we also take on other people's suffering?
Nah. What we do is we empathize. We empathize. We're taught that joining in the suffering is empathy. So therefore we believe that sometimes if I hurt with you, somehow that's being helpful to you. That's just like saying your hand is on the hot stove and burning, and if I put mine on the hot stove too, I'm helping you. Okay. That somehow both our hands burning is not making the pain on either one of our hands any less, but since I'm your friend, I'll burn with you. Okay? And so a conscious being goes, oh, you're in misery. Well, I'm going to stay in happiness so that you'll see that there's an alternative to the way that you are right now. And since I'm your friend, you can't say you can't do it because I'm your friend. So we both the same. I'm your friend. I mean, you're not like looking at Oprah. This is your friend that just did this forgiveness thing. So you know you can do it. You see what I'm saying? So your job is actually to not ever join your friends in their misery at any level, ever. They need to know there's another way to be other than the way that they're being right now. Now one of the most challenging aspects of the spiritual path is that when you're being the most helpful, you can be most misperceived by people who are in fear and conflict. People who are, always remember this, anybody that's afraid has distorted perception. Anyone that's upset has distorted perception. No one can be upset and seeing clearly. from a Course perspective, is that you don't have to believe. I'll say it again. If you really want to have a clear communication, the first thing you should do is get rid as much as you can of fear and conflict and anger first, so that you all can hear each other clearer. If one of you is full of anger, which is a call for love, your perception is distorted, so they're prone to misperceive every freaking thing you say or do because they're already upset. So to expect upset people to act sane means you're being insane. Okay? You know, to expect a mentally ill person to act normal is insane on your part. And if you were to realize that anybody that doesn't recognize that they are one with everyone is insane by definition, then you kind of understand the condition of relationships in the world. I'm amazed that we don't kill each other more. Frankly, everybody's like complaining about, you know, like you woke up this morning and they had said there were 20 murders in Denver last night. You'd be like, oh my God, I'm appalled. I need to get out of this city. The crime rate is so high. There's 1 million people plus around here. Try to look up what percentage 20 people is of 1 million. And you'll see that less than 1% of the people in this city died last night from murder, which means that you're in a pretty safe place if less than 1% of the people that live there survived the night without being violently killed. But we walk around saying, I'm scared of everybody. It's so dangerous to be here. Yeah, because you believe in the danger, you draw to you the dangerous people, which validates your idea that you're in a dangerous place because you attract them. Because you're looking for them. So they're looking for you now. Remember, they're one with you, and they might do like what happened with my brother, who was also a very conscious being, which was a guy got in the car with him. He was about to hijack his car, and my brother looked at him, and he thought he was one with him, and that was him getting ready to hijack himself. Wow. And without saying anything, the guy stopped what he was doing and looked at my brother, and then he got out of the car, and he said, you better be careful where you drive your car at night. And then he left.
Wow.
Right after my brother remembered the truth about who was in the car with him, he saw a miracle happen. The average person wouldn't do that. Of course you wouldn't, because the only thing that happens when you're really upset is you revert to your true belief system. So it's got to already be so built into you that when you get angry, you'll go to the truth because you make the truth such a part of you that is your default setting. But people always go to their default setting when they're upset. What you say to me while you feel good, it sounds good, I like it, it sounds pleasant, but it's how you respond when things are not going the way you want it to go. It's how you act when you're upset that tells me what you really believe. What you really believe you're going to reveal when you're most upset. When you are not upset, you tell yourself whatever you need to tell yourself in the moment, because there's nothing challenging you to step up. So it's easy to say you're the most loving person in the world when nobody's challenging you in there. But it's another thing when you're in a relationship, let's say, and all of a sudden you're all upset about something, and you've forgotten that only you can make yourself upset. You've forgotten that only you can make yourself upset. You've forgotten that only you can make yourself upset. You've forgotten that only you can make yourself upset. You've forgotten that only you can make yourself upset. And so now you want that person or situation to change so you'll feel better. That's what you believe. How do you know? Because that's the way you acted when you were upset. So that means you have not accepted the idea that you're the creator of your experience, that you're not a victim, and that it's your mind that creates your reality. You can say that in the class, but you don't believe it. How do you know you don't believe it? Because when something came up in the so-called real world that you could have practiced your belief, you went straight to the way the world looks at it. Like somebody did something to me, and I need to get them to change. And you can't ever use your past to prove that what I'm saying is not true, because your past just reflects what you believe. So you can say you don't agree with me, I don't care. That's okay, you don't have to. That's what freedom is. But on the other hand, remember that your physical senses are only witnessing back to you that which you already believe. So you can't use your physical senses as proof of anything other than what you believe. Your physical senses just show you what you believe, even if it's not true. Even if it's not true, your physical senses will make it look that way. So that's why you cannot judge how great your life can be by the way it is right now. Because the way it is right now is just a reflection of the things that you focused on in other present moments, just like this one. So if you really want to make a change, you can make that change, and that change can happen really beautifully and fast, as long as you don't compare that which you want to create with your present circumstances. And use your present circumstances as the proof that what you were trying to do couldn't work. You with me on that one? Okay. Any other questions before I go on? I don't mind answering. I can answer anything you ask. This was funny. I can answer anything you ask me from a Course in Miracles perspective. Does that mean you'll understand it? Does that mean you agree with it? No. I might upset you more. Sometimes the answer is more upsetting than your question. You know, you ask me a question, the answer might make you madder than the question did, but we'll see. Yes, darling.
Can you say that last part again? To not compare?
Yeah, you don't want to compare, like, in other words, a lot of times when people get ready, let's say, sometimes when I'm doing sessions with people, like you take what an astrological, numerological chart is to me. Like, people sometimes ask me, how can you be in the Course of Miracles and be an astrologer and a numerologist? And I go, well, how can you be in the Course of Miracles and be a secretary? What makes your illusion more valid than mine? Just because everybody else agrees that it's more important and real? You know what I'm saying? It's like everything is a means to communicate. No matter what you learn, it can be used by the Holy Spirit for the good of everybody. So just because I got into the course, it didn't mean I was going to not use all the skills I had acquired in my life before I got into the course. That's the mistake most people make. They get into the truth and they start condemning the things that they've learned to do and the things that they're good at and get frustrated about this big change that's supposed to happen into something different from what they're doing, even though they can't even tell you what it is they even want to do. That's what's so funny. It's like, if you're ready to drop everything, you're getting ready to do it. At the very least, you should have some idea what your goal and purpose is at this moment. But you see people all the time ready to drop everything they're doing and have not the foggiest idea of what it is that they really want to do. Or they think they ought to instantaneously be able to do it without the necessary period of learning how to do it. So somebody might come to me and say, you got incredible gifts as a musician. That doesn't mean you're going to go out here and pick up a violin as soon as you leave this session. You still gonna have to learn how to play it, but at least you know you will be a basketball player on a basketball court instead of a basketball player on a football field. And that's where most people are. They think something's wrong with them, but they like, would you imagine a football player if he was inside on the basketball court? He'd have a real problem, wouldn't he? But he could be the best football player in the world. When you are in the world, think of being in the world as walking on solid ground. And suppose when you got into the ocean or a swimming pool, you tried to walk in it. You couldn't. You have to have a different way of moving through water than you move through the land. Is this right? Yeah. Well, that's the way the truth operates. It's exactly, you can't do the truth by walking on land when the truth is the water. You're going to have to learn a new way to flow and communicate. Well, what would that be? It would be something like, I'm talking to the waitress and I know that's me talking to me, and the way I treat her is the way I treat myself. And I want her to recognize that she's not alone and that she is valid and she's seen as more than the role that she's playing. I will give her the respect that I'd like to have because I don't really want anybody that don't want me anyway. So therefore, there's no need to seduce anybody because anybody that don't want me is really somebody that the universe is saying I shouldn't be with. Now, when I was in my insane mind more, I was most attracted to people who rejected me and who were out of, who I couldn't have. That was who I was always attracted to. And then somebody I could have or who was really interested in me, I would either not be turned on by them or put them in the friend zone. Okay, so usually the safest people before you become friends and the people that you're going to learn some incredible lessons of love in, you call them partners and mates and lovers. That's the code word for I'm going to go through some hell. Broken into by superiors and we go to the movie. We're going to take a walk in the park. Why? Because it's an impossible scenario that you're setting up, which is that somebody else is supposed to complete you and make you happy, which immediately creates a situation where you're judging them all the time as to whether or not they're doing that. And they're not going to be able to do that because in most cases they don't even know what you want because you're not a good communicator. So you really get mad at them about something for a role they're not playing that they never even agreed to play, nor even realize it's a role that they're being expected to play. And in return for putting them through all of that, you give them some so-so sex. Because anybody that's that controlling is also somebody that's dysfunctional. But some people like so-so sex, so that's okay. How do you know that? Because that's what most people have. So that must be the standard. I will talk about everything in my class. If you expect me to, if anybody ever comes to my class and expect me to talk like a child, then I do not talk to people like they're 11 and 12 years old. Everything in our society is geared down to children. What won't affect children? What won't affect children? And so we're never communicated with as adults. But in my classes, I'm communicating to adults, and I would never say anything that a child didn't need to hear anyway, because they're going to need to know it anyway. They're going to recognize it one day anyway. A child is not younger than you. Their body is. Their soul is just as old as yours. They come here with their own script, their own lessons, their own karma, their own everything. They're the one that's creating their reality just as much as you're creating yours. It's not like you create your reality, but your children don't. You're the one that create their reality. So therefore, you are 100% totally responsible for how they turn out. No, they are 100% responsible for how they turn out. And they're using you to act out the thing that they've decided to learn for themselves. They're just as consciously creating the circumstances that happen to them as you're consciously creating the circumstances that happen to you. But in order to make it seem real, we have to forget we made the decision to experience it so that it can look like it happened to us. Because the only way it can look like something happens to you is that you forget you're the creator of it. So part of manifesting for a person who doesn't want to take responsibility, I said again, the way that manifesting works for someone who does not want to take responsibility is they create the things that happen to them and they put a little clause in there that says, I will forget I made this decision. It's like a post-hypnotic suggestion. Like a hypnotist. It's like you just decided to have the worst relationship you've ever had in your life because you think you're guilty. And now therefore I need to be punished. Then you forget you made that decision, and then that person shows up that you think is doing you wrong, that you're trying to change, and you don't realize it was your decision to experience that because there's something in you that wanted to have the lesson that's going to come from that experience. And that explains people that you're attracted to and you don't even know why, and you wonder why you even attracted to them in the first place. It's the same thing. You've made a definite decision that there's some lesson that person gives you that you're determined to learn right now. And you won't, and you don't realize yet that the only lesson that you're required to learn right now is you don't have to put up with none of that. That it's okay for you to have a peaceful, loving connection. That everybody's got a choice about whether or not they want to deal with you. That's what's the beauty of being an adult, is that you can choose your friends. Right? That, you know what I'm saying? You can choose your friends. Did you know that? You can actually choose your friends. Nobody has to be in your personal circle that you don't want in your personal circle. There doesn't have to be a person in your life that you don't enjoy being with. People say, what about my children? Well, that's your third level relationship. That's the relationship that's giving you unlimited opportunities to learn. You call those lifelong. But unless you got like 50 or 60 children, you're not really talking about a big percentage of the reality that you deal with every day. So most of the reality that you deal with every day, you are at choice as to who your friends are, what you're telling yourself, what you're listening to. I record every book I read to my favorite music, Calling My Name. And then I put it on my iPod and I listen to it every night, all night. Like my Course in Miracles lesson for today, I put it on auto repeat before I went to bed last night, and I listened to it all night long. And when I got up, well, I didn't really sleep that long because I went to bed pretty late. But the point that I'm making is when I looked at the little counter on my computer, it said that exercise had run 50 times. You know, so if my consciousness, how do you know that people don't believe their thoughts create their reality? Who can answer that question? How do you know that we mostly just doing a lot of lip service to that idea that our thoughts create our reality?
People are still suffering.
People are still suffering. And if you really believe that your thought would determine your financial condition and your health condition or your relationships, you know what you'd be doing. You'd be spending every moment you could trying to change the way you think. That's how I know that, again, it's just talk. It's not real. The first stage of anything is just hearing it. So I had to learn how to tell the difference between people who could talk it and people who were living it, so that I would stop hurting myself. So the people who would live in it would always demonstrate it because they would be doing whatever it would take to do what it said. Does that make sense to everybody? So if I really thought my thoughts created my reality, then it would make sense to me that I would record the thoughts that I wanted to see manifested and listen to them all night long to replace the thoughts from the world that teach me that I'm a victim and that I'm limited and that I can't have what I want. In other words, I would be changing my mind. I would be spending my energy changing my consciousness if I really believed my consciousness created my reality. Unless I didn't want to change, unless I wanted things to stay just the way they are. So people would see me as not being compassionate because I just see people as having it just the way they want to, and so therefore they could change it. They don't choose to. Why should I get emotionally caught up in that? I mean, you know, you could, like today, just from what you've heard from me today, if you never came back to my class ever again, just what you've heard today, if you used any of it, it would change every single thing you think you're going through right now. If you never came back, you know, so I should feel okay about whatever happens when you leave, because I would have done what was my role. You see what I mean? So then if you got home and I was sitting on your porch waiting to see if you was going to use what I taught you in your class, you'd be ready to call the police on me. But that's what we do, right? We give people gifts, and then we try to make sure they use the gifts when we want them to use it and the way we want them to use it. It's not a true gift if you're concerned with the outcome of the giving.
They
So
better
unless-
say thank you too.
Yeah, and they gotta say thank you, or you're not gonna ever give it to them again.
That's
You know,
exactly
it's as
right.
if the joy of giving wasn't enough. It's got to be, they not only, they have to also say thank you. And it is one, and if that person is smart, in my perception, they will say thank you. Because it's always to your advantage to express gratitude. You just can't lose from expressing gratitude. Now, am I gonna give my piece away because you didn't say thank you? Maybe. It depends on how special you are to me. The more special you are to me, the more easily you can upset me. That's the price you pay for being special to me. You want all the stuff to come with specialness? Well, you better be ready to know that you're the one that I'm going to get upset with the most, as well as the one that I think I'm giving to the most. That's the plus side. You know, if you're the specialist, you do get the sweet, juicy, good stuff that nobody else get, right? And if you're upset that you think they're going to give it to anybody else, especially when you think love is limited. So if you use the ideas, you'll see that these ideas work. You only have to use one of them, and one of them will lead you to the truth of all of them. So when you leave, don't try to remember everything I said. Try to remember the thing I said that you can remember. And if you want to hear it again, it'll be on the internet within 72 hours. It's on my website, and it's on YouTube. So that's why I tape these things, video these things. It's because I know that what I said earlier, if you want to change your reality, you have to change your mind. You're not going to change your mind unless you remember the truth. How are you going to remember something that you don't listen to? Especially when the world is bombarding you with thoughts to the opposite. It's not like when you leave out of here, you're not getting any input. When you leave out of here, everything that you come in contact with is trying to tell you one message. You are a body and you're a victim. You are a body and you're a victim. You are a body and you're a victim. You're a body, you need to be on the lookout for this. You're a body, you need to be on the lookout for that. You're a body, things are going to happen to you. You're a body, you're separate, you're a body. So that's coming at us every way possible. So you think 1 hour sitting here just listening to me a little bit, because you know you're going unconscious too, just like me. So even within the hour, there's a very small percentage of the hour that actually is heard at a conscious level. And then you're going to walk out in a world that's bombarding you through billboards and everything else that you're limited to about, and you think it's going to make a difference? Yes. The truth is so much stronger than the illusion of the world that 5 minutes of the truth could have more power than 23 hours of what you hear out there, because it's the truth. And if it's the truth, the universe and God is behind it. So that means the minute you choose for the truth, which is to love yourself and to recognize you are deserving of love, then the universe cooperates with that idea, because that idea is true. When you want to be miserable and don't practice the truth, you have to make it, you have to do on your own. You have to make your misery by yourself.
Wow.
Nothing is trying to help you be miserable. Because most people are too self-absorbed to spend their time trying to figure out what to do with you. Think about that for a minute. Think about how many hours of a day that you actually think about anybody else. I mean, just to be honest, that's not a criticism. And you have to say 99% of the time, your thoughts are about you and your life and how you can have it the way you want to, and what is it that you think is not making it happen, okay? Is that true?
Yes.
Okay, then if that is true, that's true pretty much for everybody around you. So all the concern you have about what other people think, they're not. They're not thinking about you. You are not now, the people who are special to you, yes. That's the name of that game, is that you all in each other's business. Okay, that's the price you pay for that game. But that's still a very small percentage of the people that you meet. So what I'm telling you is that nobody's watching you. I like to go places and watch people. I have a very voyeuristic nature. I think this is the most fascinating place. And I noticed a long time ago when I got in the course that it was true about everybody being more or less focused on their separate selves. So I noticed that especially if I just go out into the world, if I just sit there and watch, it would be very few people that would make eye contact, really. Just really notice that I'm sitting there. But the vast majority of people would be talking to each other, listening to their iPods, looking in the window. And so you could watch everybody and see what everybody was doing, and nobody even noticed you were there, because to them you were invisible. Because they don't even know you exist. Do you know that? That the people you pass by on the street, you literally don't exist to them. They didn't even see you. Because they were thinking about themselves. They don't know you. You're a stranger. You're invisible. So then you get a chance to watch the world, and when you watch the world, you get so many lessons about how it all operates so that you can be safer in it.
Wow.
And then you choose when to interact. Like you watch, and then I go, okay, I'm ready to interact now. How do I interact? Okay, I go up to this person, I treat them as I would treat myself, and I give them what I would like to receive, and I have the attitude with them that I would like him to have with me. And I realize even if he doesn't reflect it back to me and acts what I would call a total ass, That's my way of saying a call for love. Then I would know that treating him the way I would like to be treated is still going to work for me. It's still going to benefit me, regardless of how he reacts to me. So I won't necessarily be looking for the person that I give something to be the person that's going to give it back to me. Don't look, just because you're nice to that particular person, don't necessarily think that person is going to be the one. It's going to come back to you. The Course in Miracles teaches, it comes back to you in the form you need it the most. And I love that idea. As an example, maybe I gave you a sandwich when you needed it, but if I have a flat tire, I don't want somebody to bring me a sandwich. I need a jack. So I need it to come back to me in the way I need it the most. You got it? So don't worry about the other person giving back to you when you've given to them. That's okay. That's on them how they react to it. But I'm telling you that the result of that giving is going to affect your consciousness and make you love yourself more. And the minute you love yourself more, you'll let more things happen to you that's loving. So all day long, you just get opportunity after opportunity to free yourself and to heal yourself and everything, because no matter how anybody else reacts, you have the opportunity to get what you want to receive, and therefore increase that in your own consciousness. And then your physical reality reflects back to you that which is in your own consciousness, your consciousness. So no matter what your past was, no matter how you were brought up as a child, no matter what your race, no matter what your sex, no matter what your gender, no matter what your background, it doesn't matter anymore. You know you can think, so therefore you can decide what you are going to think, which means you can change your reality. You can no longer use your story or your past anymore as any excuse. Sorry, it doesn't work on the higher planes. They're not interested in your story. They know that your story is just a prop that you set up to teach yourself in. So I don't care how all of us got here today, we're here today. And we're conscious enough to know what I just said, right? Everybody here, whether you agree with me or not, you know what I said, right? Okay, then that means that no matter what your background, you can change whatever it is that you're unhappy about. And what I'm working on right now personally is not me making up the next thing that's going to happen. Surrendering to God and allowing my higher self to now live its life through me. That's what I'm working on. I've had enough of Earl's fantasies. But I've also noticed that when I focus on the truth, Earl's fantasies get carried out too. So I thought that was a good deal. It's like, wow. Yeah, there's a line in this book that I bronzed and put up on the wall in big bold letters. I will take care of your foolish needs and your real needs. I got some foolish needs, you know what I'm saying? So so it's the funny thing about having a need met. When that need is met and that need is met innocently, that need no longer runs you anymore. The need that runs people is the one that they can't fulfill or they feel guilty about. The need that won't control you is if you know you can do it and you're innocent if you do it and you're all right if you do it and you just do it and you move on. That's what's happening to me more and more. It's like if I want to do something, I just go ahead and do it. As long as I make sure that in that situation there is nothing but harmony and trust and agreement. Okay? And I don't go through all that stuff about the morality of it, because I realize that's made up. That's just a group of people sitting around deciding what's right for everybody. And I don't believe, I always thought that, even as a child, I saw right through society. I said, wow, people are crucifying each other about made up rules that they sit around and make up because they vary from country to country, culture to culture, race to race. So that means they can't be real because anything real applies to everybody equally. This does not apply to everybody equally, so by definition, I know it's something man made up. And if something man made up, I'll do it or choose not to do it, but I certainly won't feel guilty about breaking a rule that wasn't made by God. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be guilty because you think that what I do in my personal life is not okay, so therefore I'm going to stop. That's insane to me. That's completely, if I used to do that, I used to go, oh my God, what are other people going to say if I mention sex in my class? Oh my God, what's going on? It's like, some people make the decision just like that. Either they're going to like you or they're not. They're going to want to join with you or they're not. They're going to be for you or they're not. It doesn't really, some people, as soon as they walk in the door, they decide they're not going to like me. And then from that point on, no matter what I say, they just take what I say to build their case. Because they've already decided that this isn't a good place, this isn't trustworthy, and I'm crazy. Let's say a person came in and they had a real racist issue, that they've been taught to not like people of a certain race. Well, as soon as they walk in the door, they would negate me instantly. It wouldn't matter what I said, I'm black. So if I live my life based on the way everybody around me is going to see me, I'll be immobilized and never accomplish anything in my life that will make me feel happy. So rule number one, if you really want to have a happy life, is stop caring what other people think about you. And not just take that as some little intellectual thing. Literally, learn to stop caring what other people think about you. Because one day, I came to the realization that those people out there I was concerned about, I realized they weren't really in my personal life, nor contributing to my personal life at all, as far as I could see. They weren't feeding me, they weren't clothing me, they didn't care when I got sick. So I'm living my life for people who don't even matter. That began to seem insane to me. But I was so programmed that it took me a while to learn how to let that go. So everything I'm telling you about, I'm in process also. I'm not talking from a place where I got it all together and I'm passing it on to you. No, I don't have it together, and I'm passing it on to you so I can hear myself say it, because it's impossible for me to forget when I'm reminding other people about. And that's why I teach. It guarantees at least twice a week I'll hear something sane and loving. That's why I do this. That's why I tell people, don't come to my class because you expect to hear something necessarily different every week, but because you know this is a place you can be reminded of your power, your innocence, your love, your ability to make a change, your ability to have what you want, and most of all, the fact that you deserve it. That's why you come, so you can hear something other than what the world is telling you about you. But that's also when you realize how much your ego or worldly self controls you, because you'll find you have endless energy for the stuff that doesn't remind you the truth of you, and very little time for the stuff that somebody's telling you that you are loved. But as you love yourself more, you will want to give your time more and more to things like this or your own personal study. And you look forward to it. It's like, oh my God, I'm getting ready to study for 3 hours or 2 hours. I study every day. I have a ritual I do, right? So I'm like, oh my God, I get a chance to spend the morning with Jesus. My brother, the one I learned a bunch of crappy stuff about. That I even learned so much crappy stuff about Jesus, I couldn't even use the word Jesus. You know, and so now he's my friend because I realized it was me that was misperceiving him. Because I was believing the rumors that other people told me about him. How would I like it if somebody did me like that? But I was doing Jesus like that. Even in the spiritual communities, even in the metaphysical spiritual communities. You can talk about Buddha, you can talk about Krishna, you can talk about anybody, but Jesus ain't cool. Jesus is never cool. And you know, Jesus wasn't cool to me. At first I could only say Holy Spirit, and I thought I was doing good to just say Holy Spirit. You know, I thought that was a real step up. But to get to the point that I said, Jesus is my brother, and I'm now, you know, and I knew Jesus was trying to get to me because every friggin' book I was attracted to was always channeled, and all of them was channeled by Jesus. Whether it was the Course in Miracles, the Course of Love, the Way of Mastery, I can tell you book after book. And it's like, okay, and then I was born Southern Black Baptist. I was also born Southern Baptist. And what are you? I'm a Southern Baptist. It's so much fun being black. You ought to try it, especially around 1955. This was a barrel of fun. Oh, I love the back of the bus. Okay. I feel like I was being chauffeured.
Wow, that's cool too.
Yeah. It's just all in the way you look at it. It's all about the way you look at it. And you just want to make sure that you're looking at it another way so you can have the peace that you want. Would you acknowledge yourself, please, for listening to this much? Listen to me go on. But you know you don't have to believe any of it. Right? Right? All right, so let's do the love offering. Hey, y'all, this is all I do in the world is teach my classes, so I appreciate your generosity. If something I say means something to you enough that you want to share financially, I really appreciate that. And if you don't, I really appreciate that too. You when you were a child, and I'm not negating that if you went through some type of a trauma as a child at all. But at the same time, I'm also saying that the pain that you're experiencing from that event, if it happened in the past, the pain that you're experiencing is coming from your thoughts about it now. They're no longer coming from the event. And so if you really want to get over something, then you need coaching and how to change your mind. And then for people that are open to it, astrology, numerology comes in, is because it's my way of communicating with the Holy Spirit. And what it does is it's just a language. It tells me things to say to people that I wouldn't ordinarily think to say. And because they're sitting there, they wouldn't be sitting there, even if that, let me put it this way, even if that was the biggest bogus stuff that ever worked. The fact that they're sitting there and I'm sitting there means that for whatever reason, we needed to hear what was said, even if it wasn't true. But you see what I'm saying? So once you begin to understand how reality works, you understand you can't be taken advantage of and you can't be sabotaged. because you realize that God is in every circumstance, and you can ask Spirit to communicate to you through any situation, and it will go beyond what any human is trying to do to deceive you. I've had people who really thought they wished me harm, let's say, for example, and one way or another, Spirit let me know that was going on. It was amazing how the Course says that I will let you know everything that you need to know, as long as you don't use it to attack. So I had to make the agreement with Holy Spirit early on in this game. I've been doing it 30 years. That the information that I was given about people, I would not use to create separation and judgment. Because the minute you're given information to help you stay peaceful and safe, but you use it against the person, you cut off that connection to that information, and you stop getting information from the universe that would help you be safe. Because nothing that's coming from God is something that should be used for pain and attack. So if you take information that you're getting and you use it against yourself or someone else, then you're cutting off that connection. So and then the person would never know that I knew how they felt about me. They would never know it, because I know that's their ego and not really them. And so I can be talking to a person I know hate my guts and they never know it. Not that I'm being phony, it's just that I don't give any power to that part of them. You know, I don't care about your ego. And when I do, that's my issue to deal with. That's my issue, at the point that I do care about your ego. That's my ego getting upset about your ego. Because the God in me would never get upset. You gotta understand? It's like it can't be anything but my ego if I'm upset. It can't be anything but my ego, my separate self, if I worry. Your God self wouldn't worry about your bills. So who isn't worried about your bills? The part of you that doesn't know who you are. Who's getting up and going to work tomorrow morning at a job they hate? The part of you that doesn't know who it is. So how you get out of that situation? You need to find out who you are quick. Because the minute you recognize who you really are, you change the situation in an instant. In an instant, it'll change. You know. So if you don't have a relationship, you don't want one. You don't have any money, you don't want any. You have a job you hate, that's where you want to be. Stop saying anything is happening to you that you are not the one who's the creator of it. And you will watch it change. Don't hear anything else today, hear that. Nothing's going to change until you stop playing the victim. I don't care how much you feel justified. You can give me a laundry list of reasons why you know somebody did you wrong and you were just an innocent victim. That's great, that's wonderful, but it won't change one single thing about your life that's making you unhappy. I mean, nothing about it. It's a good story, get a lot of mileage from it, but it won't change the things you want to the level of joy that you deserve. Deserve. Did I say deserve?
Yeah.
You said deserve.
All right.
We change it.
All right. Oh, so it's 5 after 2. Take a breath with me. I'm going to say one little thing, and then we can go out into the lab.
He didn't hurry up.
I'm going to read the last part of this paragraph. So you some little special things. Oh, this is going to be a paraphrase. Your specialness is only temporary. You got some really cool talents and gifts. And you are having a teaching, learning situation. So whenever you have a special relationship or any kind of relationship, say I'm in a teaching, learning situation. And being in a teaching, learning situation where you're learning how to express the truth, that's a characteristic of all of us. So all the differences between us are temporary. All the differences between us are temporary, but we all have the following characteristics. In the end, you're going to be full of trust. You're going to be full of honesty. You're going to be fully tolerant. You're going to be gentle. You're going to experience joy completely. You're going to be totally defenseless because there's no danger for you. You're going to be completely generous. I love that. You're going to be completely generous. You're going to be patient, completely faithful, and totally open-minded. Those are going to be the characteristics that you have better than any other characteristics. And when you walk in the room, people are going to feel it. they're going to know something extraordinary has just entered their environment and they don't quite know how to describe it. But they know something about you is really a little different, but it's a different they like. It's a different they don't quite understand, but they like it. That's going to be so much fun. That's going to be so much fun. You're going to be amazed at how much fun you have. So to close, our last prayer would be, I am willing to have
Fun.
I deserve to be paid for having fun. Would you say that? I deserve to be paid for having fun. Say what? I deserve to be paid for having. Let's get loud now. I deserve to be paid for having fun. I deserve to be paid for having fun. Give it up, Holy Spirit. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for helping me remember who I am. And invite people to come with you. We can have a good time. I love you. Hugs are available. I love hugs.